Hello and welcome to the Paint Collar Network. I am here with Heather at the House of Beauty. Welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy to have you. It's beautiful in here.
Thank you.
I've never been here before. When I walked in, I audibly went, "It's so gorgeous." And it's just very calm. Like the vibes are very elegant. And I like the windows. I like the windows everywhere. I'm a big fan. I just think it's very modern, and I think it's so cool.
A little bougie, a little garden style.
Garden style is the perfect term. I love that, and it's just it's nice in here. The lighting's great too. So I was like, this is great. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I told you I was a big fan earlier and you told me stop it, but I am a really large fan. I have followed you since I was 19 when I came to my sister's class and she did my makeup, probably sooner than that. She was in your class, she did my makeup, and I remember just hearing you talk about makeup and being like, wait, why do I want to be her so bad? I think I talked to my sister the whole ride home. Night classes, far from our house, an hour at least. And I was just in awe. I'm like, wait, you do this all the time? You get to talk to her all the time? She's like, yup. Flexing on me. She's like, yeah, you'll never want to do this. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to want to do that. And then not even 2 years later, I'm like, I kind of want to do that really bad. I was like, wait, can I get in on that? I was at an eye doctor. I looked at my mom. We were at the beach one day and I said, what would you think if I wanted to do makeup? And she goes, you want to work with me? I was like, yeah. And she was all about it. She's like, what made you want to do that? I said, you know the old student Heather, Kylie's teacher? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I want to be like her. She's like, oh, I can help you do that. She said, I helped her, I can help you. And I, to this day, have sat on that. My mom's like, that's the makeup girl. You are the makeup girl now. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get there. This is great. So I'm really excited to have you on. A little fangirl moment for me. So I want to know your journey, kind of. I want to hear about how you started in the industry. What made you decide I want to do, you've done anywhere from editorial. You've done bridal. You do all kinds of makeup. I want to hear how you do all of that. How you decided, you're Queen Collaboration right now. You just co-founded this place with, what's your partner?
Kelly Ford?
Yes. Kelly Ford. I was looking at your guys' website. I'm like, this is the most iconic collaboration there could have been.
It is.
So my channel being all about bringing each other up, boosting each other, how collaboration is so important. I'm like, this is the perfect interview for my second interview.
It is.
So I really am excited to hear about your journey.
Yes. So I kind of fell into the makeup industry. I always dabbled in art in general. I started painting. I used to sell acrylic and watercolor on canvas. I had a lot of friends that saw my brushes and noticed that they were similar, asked if I would try it. I tried it and fell in love with it. And then I started doing it kind of as a hobby. And then I did that pretty much for trade for a long time, just to be able to kind of grow my skill and work with new models and everything and try to see if I wanted to even make a career out of it. So I started going to cosmetology school. And when I went to cosmetology school, I fell in love with the styling aspect. But I wasn't fully in love with doing hair color and cuts and stuff like that. I would do them and I was good at them, but I didn't fully feel like it was my jam. So I discovered falling into the education realm. So I got into education. I was very inspired by your mom and a few other, educators in the area that I don't even know if they are still educators anymore. But I worked with Paul Mitchell for a long time.
My aesthetics teacher, Miss Donna, talked very highly of you. And I said, Miss Donna, I literally am obsessed with her. I'm obsessed with Miss Donna. You and Miss Donna are equal playing ground with who I'm obsessed with. And I was like, Oh, Miss Donna, you can't even believe how much I love her. I was like, yes. She's like, oh my God.
She's such a wealth of knowledge. She's such a good instructor.
Anytime I have any questions about anything, I pull up at that school. Like, I have no qualm. I'm like, I need to.
You can message her on Facebook, and literally she'll pick up.
Oh my God, I love her.
But yeah, so like, there's a lot of instructors that inspired me to continue my educator kind of lane, and then I went to aesthetics school. And then I got my aesthetics instructor license. Meanwhile, that entire time I was in school, I already had the business kind of up and running. Formerly, it was just me and one other person. And then I kept getting enough bookings that neither one of us could handle it on our own. So we added another person and then another person. And we kept going. And it got to the point where I had a team of, I think at most before we merged, I had like maybe 15. And then over time, you know, owning a business is challenging. It's definitely not easy by any stretch of the term. Mm-hmm. And I kind of fell into it because I didn't really have this aspiration of owning like a big company or anything like that. I wanted to have my crew and my family, and I wanted to have, you know, friends and know people in the community and network, but I didn't really think I wanted to own a company. But when my team started to grow, because we were getting enough inquiries for it, I kind of just fell right into it. And then, you know, it comes with its challenges. And when you're a solo business owner, there's no one to turn to. There's no one to bounce those ideas off of. There's no one to, you know, help with that hurdle. And I think that when I sought out a co-owner and I was talking to Kelly Ford Beauty, knowing that she was also a very, you know, well-known makeup artist in the area, and she had a team as well. We started talking about how killer it would be if us two, you know, with my education background and makeup background and networking background and everything that I've done that is complete opposite of what she does, how great that puzzle would fit together. And so we joked about it for over a year. And then one day we just said, let's do it. And we merged. And so now we're a happy little family. It's definitely come with its challenges because we changed a lot of things and a lot of, you know, hurdles here and there that everyone always hits when you're opening a new business, let alone converting two businesses into one. Mm-hmm. But it definitely has been so wonderful to have a partner in crime, to be able to, you know, bounce ideas, to be able to, you know, make decisions together and compromise and feel heard at the same time. Because before I didn't really have anybody that I could talk to enough to feel heard, because obviously the people I would talk to are the people that, you know, work with me. So mm-hmm. it got a little challenging, but my journey has been very interesting because I also work with a lot of different type of people that I think that a lot of salons and spas don't typically focus on. I've worked with celebrities. I've worked with, you know, producers and fashion designers and fashion shows and television. Like, it just pretty much everything with the exception of like special effects. That's not my jam. I like making people feel pretty.
That's like how I feel about it too. I tell my sister that because, you know, Kylie, she's so good mm-hmm. at like artsy fartsy stuff. Like she mm-hmm. can make that blood, do that whole thing. Yeah. She's so cool like that. I'm like, you know, I would love to make your skin look like a Charlotte Tilbury mm-hmm. model if you want. Yeah. Like if you're feeling that jam, yeah. I would love to feel that jam. Like yes. I don't, spooky ooky is cool for others.
I love watching it. I love watching it.
I love to watch people do it.
It's a sensory like, thing cool. for me. Getting like having the sticky and the goop.
Stick.
Mm.
Yes.
No, I can't.
It's like textures. I'm like, yeah. No, I can't do
And to be honest, it's
like,
one of the reasons why like I'll do hair. And like I said, I'm good at it because I did it for a long time. But I definitely, the sensation of having hairspray on my hands and the hair sticking to my fingers, and all that stuff like really irks me. So I don't do it often, but I can. And that's wonderful thing about having a cosmetology or aesthetics license is that you can pick the things in it that you want to do and choose not to do those other things. But when you want to be able to do it, you can kind of pull it out of your back pocket and be able to stunt on some people, you know, because I've had a lot of people be like, you're a makeup artist, you don't do hair. And I'm like, all right, let me show you.
I love that idea just because I'm the same way with I'll do brides. I'll do their makeup party. I'll do their whole bridal party. I'll do their makeup. They love it. And they have, I call them alfalfas in their eyebrows, you know, the stick ups.
The wiry one.
And I'm like, do you want to know what would really kill with this? A brow lamb. When you're back from your honeymoon, give me a call. And they're like, you do that? And I'm like, it always feels like a power move when I'm like, yeah, like, yeah, I do. On the side, of course, like, makeup's my shtick, but I have other tricks, other hidden back pocket stuff. Like, it always makes you feel like you're just got something like a little special about you. Which I love. So you spoke of having challenges, being a business owner, starting a collaborative business, everything like that. There's so many challenges versus like legal stuff with paperwork, all that fun stuff about owning the business, but getting the teams together, getting everyone comfortable with each other. What was like the biggest challenges you faced building your career so far, and how did you overcome that?
Definitely having a good community behind you, having a good group of people that keep you grounded and you know you can talk to when things are not going as planned. It happens to everybody at some point in any business owning career. You're going to come into, you know, different challenges, whether or not it's staffing challenges or, you know, filling your books or anything like that. It's something you have to work on constantly. And I think a lot of beauty schools often convince new students that in school they're just going to leave after graduation and have a fully booked clientele, and you too can own
that
a
is
business.
Exactly what they made me feel like I should start my business immediately as I leave. I'm gonna have a full book. People are gonna be like knocking my doors down, and it is the most humbling experience when you get your job, you go to work, and you're doing nothing. You're answering the phone, you're playing reception.
You have to work at it constantly.
And you should be out there. My mom always hounded me on this. I'm like, you're annoying. I don't want to do that. I got every client I have at my salon by going out there and be like, do you want a brow wax while you're sitting? Do you want me to do a hand massage while you're sitting? Oh my God, look at this product. Do you want a sample of this while you're sitting? Like going and talking to your other, like you're the coworkers. They're there to support you, especially if you're an esthetician I don't do hair. So it's a whole different avenue. Like my salon didn't even really have aesthetics. We had like pedicures and manicures, but like maximum waxing eyebrows. So when I had my whole side introduced, I had to figure it all out by scratch. And that was, and my mom's like, I only know so much, girl. Like, figure it out. The most humbling experience being like, oh my God, school did not really teach me. Like, even if they tell you to go set out on your own, they don't teach you how to actually do it or what to do.
They teach you enough to pass your boards, which is great. That's what essentially you're paying for in cosmetology school or aesthetic schools, but you learn more on the job than you ever would in school. And I think that, you know, sometimes it can be a little misleading to people thinking that, you know, you spend $25,000 to $30,000, $45,000 on an education, and you know you're in this position where you're believing straight out of school that you're just going to be rocking it, making six figures, and it definitely doesn't happen that way. I mean, I know that my journey was an interesting one, but I definitely took me a couple years to really get
me thinking I could immediately pay my student loan after I got out of school was also very humbling because I was like, oh, yeah,
I owe money.
I'm like, oh my God. They gave me my first email. I said, I forgot about you. With no clients.
It's very interesting. Like, you know, they sell this idea of, you know, coming straight out of school. And if you're fully booked in a salon and that's the next smartest move for you, do it. like take the risk, do it, because not all your clients are going to move with you, but if you have that clientele, it makes sense for that to be your next best move. But I think that people do it early, and you got to give them points for being courageous and taking that risk. But at the same time, like when you're straight out of school and you get a color correction, there's nobody there to like bounce that idea off of. Do you think I should use this color or this product or whatever? And it's just, it gets overwhelming
Those
for people.
TikToks where they put the headphones in, they're like, oh, I just like to listen to music while I work. And they're watching the videos of them doing the service.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my God,
crazy.
They're so funny. I'm like, oh my God, it's always like lash and nail girls doing it. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Just, can I listen to music while I'm working? Watching videos, how to? I'm like, I can't. That's how it feels though, like going right from school to just figuring it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have no one to go off of. You have no one to say like, oh, is this how this works? Like, I remember even in school going to Miss Donna, like every time I had a client and being like, hey, do you think this is a good idea? Like, can I bounce this idea off you?
Right.
Like, is this okay to do? So going off on my own, I couldn't even go out and ask my mom because she doesn't know skincare.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know those things. So she's like, you sound smart. Like,
Google
you
it.
sound good. Google it. ChatGPT is our best friend right now. She's like, go put it in ChatGPT. Like, it's going to tell you. I'm like...
but I would say that there's, two things that I could think of. In general, I think that the most challenging thing in the entirety of the career was quite obviously the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that changed a lot of things for a lot of people. It showed me, how hard you really do have to work to not only keep business running, but when you're forced to pause the things you have to do in order to get it back up and running. And then, of course, you still hit that same thing when you do things like what I did with the merge. When we made this new company, it was definitely like a lot of eye-opening situations and everything. So I think that COVID definitely, forced you to have to be flexible and have to, put together the pieces. But one of the biggest things that happened to me in my entire career that I think was pivotal for me was a couple years ago, I had my entire kit stolen out of my car.
That's nightmare 9,000. I would, and the amount of time it like takes to formulate the perfect kit for yourself and the amount of money you put into it.
I had everything.
My God.
I had a vintage Iwata system with the wood paneling and everything. I had.
I would cry. I would die.
My entire kit. They took a bag of Mac empties out of my trunk. You know how you can save all the empties and get little freebies here and there. They took that.
Oh my God, that's so fake.
Weird.
That's a makeup artist thing to know. What the hell?
So the full story was, it pretty much was Snapchat's fault. And it was because I had taught a school in Somersworth at one of the local cosmetology schools. And I had just, finished talking to people about how much a makeup kit is worth. I mean, my kit now is probably valued at over like 20 grand because each one foundation is like 50 to 80 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it adds up pretty quickly, and I have a pretty hefty duty kit. So I had come home from teaching a class, and I walked upstairs to drop my daughter off, and I had a couple groceries. I brought her upstairs, came back downstairs to grab the rest of my kit. And my roommate at the time had walked in. She goes, "Heather, did you mean to leave your doors open?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure I closed it and locked it. Like I'm almost positive I closed it and locked it." And she's like, "No, all your doors are open, including the trunk." And I was like, "That's weird." So my heart sank to the below region. And I literally, I couldn't breathe. And I don't think I fully felt, I almost went numb. I came outside and everything was gone. The weirdest part about everything being gone was that not all of my makeup and my career related stuff was gone, but They moved over my iPad, moved over my kids' Christmas gifts that I was hiding in my trunk. They moved over my leather jacket. They didn't take any of the other things that were of value. They just took my job related things. So obviously in panic, when I lost everything, it just, I didn't know what to do. So I went inside and I was crying for days and I couldn't figure out what to do. But that weekend that it happened, I actually had a wedding. And, I had put something together for like a couple friends of mine to see if they would give any ideas that would help or whatever. And my photographer friends, I had Rob Hare and Eric Snyder and Mo Mendez, they all went together and kind of created like a GoFundMe to raise money so I could rebuild my kit. But the most impactful thing, I think, on my end was because I had a wedding that weekend, I actually, in the story, kind of once the GoFundMe went up, I had an entire community of people that most people would consider to be competition. They kind of rallied together for me. So I had people like Lisa Van Orden and Jessica Candage offering me their kits to do my job with over the weekend. And I was still able to do my job. They just let me borrow their kits for a day or two. And I was able to do my job. Community should inspire you to do more or inspire you to try new things. But also, being together and, supporting each other and not being shy about sharing your love for each other and everything like that. I think that that's kind of how the industry flourishes. I get recommendations from other teams and teams get other recommendations from us. And there's enough work for everybody to go around. So especially in this area, New England in general is like, I tell everybody it's the bridal mecca.
I was just saying it's the wedding hub is what I tell people, especially I work at a med spa now. I just started telling my boss, I'm like, why don't we have like wedding packages for brides? Like bride and mother of the bride packages, we're in like the wedding hub, like, and it's the season of our population quadrupling here in New England.
It's crazy if you think about it too, because like we just have everything. You want dunes, you want it to look like a desert, we've got those. You want mountains or a lake, or do you want the ocean? Or do you want a farm? Or do you want, modern city looking environments? Like there's literally everything here. And
You've met
you want it fall or you want spring or you want summer, like literally all of it. You get married and not to say that this place is probably not, Arizona is beautiful, but I'm just saying there's one season in Arizona, right? You get like more than 4 here. I don't know what other seasons are.
That's what I was just saying. Other places don't have all 4 seasons. We got all of them.
Sometimes an all in one day.
Yeah, my sister is getting married. Kylie's getting married, which is so exciting. She's not bridezilla, just picky. She knows what she wants. She's been planning this since she probably was born.
As she should.
Exactly. She wants this like ethereal Game of Thrones-esque ACOTAR type vibe. She found that in Manchester, New Hampshire. Please. Like, we have everything you can want for brides here. Yeah. So I'm not surprised it's a wedding mecca. We do have so much space. Bridal teams are so important right now just because I was just talking to Carrie right before this and she's like, my bridal team is non-competitive. You can go work on any other bridal team and still be a part of my bridal team. You're just going to go do other stuff. Like, we all have enough weddings to go around. And I 100% agree. I'm like, there's not enough. Like, I have weddings now that the salon, we're already booked. I'm like, we have other places to recommend you to, but like, there's no reason to keep tearing people down. Like, I feel like competitiveness, like, it's only there because you're thinking it's there. Like, no one else is thinking like that. It's very like in your own head. I've worked with Cascade a few times. I love them. They're so nice. Every time they always have a kit for me to use, which I'm like, I offer to bring my kit anyways, because I'm anal and like my stuff. Like, I like my stuff. That's how I am. I'm like, I just like my things. Like, no, nothing against your things, but like,
and everybody's kit is so different. Like, what you need for your applications are always so different. And I've worked with, a lot of big name brands, and those things didn't come to me because I'm a good artist per se, right? It's because I put myself out there and I networked to get the connections in order to build relationships and then therefore have jobs from them long-term wise. I just did a music video last week that I was working, pretty much 10 a.m. to midnight, 4 days in a row. And they had, a certain budget allotted for that job. And I took it, worked within their budget. And now we're going to be shooting another 4 music videos and a movie. So I got that connection and we'll be getting more future jobs because they built that connection. And I think that that's really important. I think that building your craft and practicing and, working with different types of people, whether or not that's videographers, social media content creators, or if it's, photographers or producers, anybody that it's in the field that you want to work in, and talking with them and telling them that you want to work with them and putting your name out there, even though it feels weird sometimes when you're messaging like, say a celebrity, right? You're like, can I do your makeup?
Please.
Some of them, most of them won't see the message.
I DM TikTokers all the time. I'm like, if you're ever in this area and need a spray tan, all the time, because I know that all those girls get spray tans.
Yes.
Why would you not offer them a free spray tan?
And they all need makeup. If they're on TV, they need
Literally,
makeup.
I'm like, if you're gonna record your podcast, anything you want to do, the Barstool girls are in Boston all the time.
Yeah.
I have my spray tan card on me all the time. Why? Because I'll go down there for a free spray for a famous person,
Right.
for a plug.
Yeah.
It's good for business, and it's
mentality
fun.
of it too is like thinking about like, oh, well, they're celebrities, they could afford it, so why aren't they paying? Well, sometimes that's the opportunity you're given, and you can power to you for saying no if you want to say no. But I've always been that person that, if you're thinking about me and you're like, oh, I have this new wardrobe that I'm designing and I know this perfect makeup artist that would do it, and they reach out to me because they thought about me for a reason, and it's because I've put my name out there. So when they reach out, even if it's not a big name, you don't know where they're going to be in 10 years. I've had a lot of brands, like I've worked with a designer called Bless by Bless out of Massachusetts, and I've worked with him a few times, and his work is incredible, and he's often like Paris Fashion Week and all this other kind of stuff. He's doing really big things for himself, and I worked with him when he first got started. So it's nice to see growth in those people. And then now I would have that bigger connection should he, hit it even bigger. Same thing with, photographers, having a friend that is good with a camera and growing with them. I think that there's a good handful of photographers that are local that I've worked with for over a decade. And I've been with them as part of their growth and, seen their success and been part of their journey, and therefore it's also boosted my journey as well. So that whole community, it doesn't necessarily only have to be makeup artists either. It can be people that are just in that creative endeavor, that creative mindset.
I love that. I did want to ask, this is more of like, I feel like, especially where we're located in this like New England area, weddings super popular. It's easier to get our foot in the door with weddings. What advice would you give to young artists trying to break it into like media editorial makeup? Because I feel like it is a little bit harder around here to find opportunities like that.
It can definitely be challenging. I think you have to start just with practicing, understanding what products work better for camera and film as opposed to like everyday makeup. I think is really important as well. But I think in general, getting into doing editorial or commercial or any type of like print type of jobs really for me started with working with the community, working with photographers that were up and coming, and then building my portfolio to the point where I used to save a lot of photos. Like I would go on Pinterest or Google and I would find photos of makeup and be like, I want a photo like this in my portfolio. So I would save it. And then if I ever were to connect with a photographer that said I want to work with you, I had an album of photos that I'm like, I would love this to be in my portfolio, and I want to replicate this. photo inspires me. I want to do something like this for my portfolio. And over time, I think I just built a big enough portfolio that people were starting to know me for that. And I like to consider myself a pretty like well-rounded beauty makeup artist. Because again, I don't do special effects, but a well-rounded makeup artist in that sense. I don't like to be pigeoned into one little corner for being a makeup artist that only does natural, or only does glam, or only does pageants, or only does bridal. Or to even go even further, a makeup artist that doesn't only work on white people. It had to be said.
No, that's 100%. I had in school, we had one girl who was slightly of color, like not hard to find her. Literally, not hard to find her in the foundation palette. Girls in my class were too scared. They didn't want to do it. I hopped on it. I'm like, why would you not want to do that? Their skin's beautiful.
That come to you, and I think that one of my biggest points in my career, my goals in my career, was to make it sure that my portfolio was inclusive. I could see how discouraging it can be for somebody who is more melanated. That they struggle finding people who feel confident and know what they're doing when it comes to skin matching or understanding skin tone. So I think it was really important for me in my career to diversify. I don't like having just all the same type of looking people. I take all the jobs that come my way in general, but I don't, I'm prepared if they're purple or albino or 85 or 10. You know, you never know because we don't ask, right? You don't sit there and ask all your bridesmaids, could you please tell me what ethnicities and hair types and all that kind of stuff your whole bridal party is. Like I think that when you're working at the capacity that a lot of bridal teams are, I think you should have the knowledge on all skin types, all tones, or else you shouldn't put yourself in that I'm a professional makeup artist category. And we're in New Hampshire. We work with the demographic that we have, which is predominantly Caucasian. But, you know, when you're really trying to practice, you know, seeking individuals out and talking to them and asking them, would you come and sit in my chair? I would love to practice. And literally, I used to walk around in grocery stores and would walk up to people and be like, here's my card. Please come sit in my chair. I would love to do your makeup. And people would come. Sometimes you get weird looks, but most of them.
Sometimes you just got to get past the weird looks. I feel like in our industry, if you hand them our card, there is a chance they're giving you a weird look. Just take the weird look. Maybe they'll come in anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think too.
One weird look later.
When talking about like diversifying your portfolio and stuff, like I get that like not everybody has, you know, that diversity where they live and stuff, but I think it's up to you to seek out that education. It's almost your responsibility to, because without saying that you don't feel comfortable with it, imagine being in the other side, being part of a wedding party or being part of a job, and the makeup artist isn't prepared or doesn't know enough about color theory to understand how to work with just them. Everyone else is fine, but just them. And just because their skin tone, inherently that's leaning towards a racism issue, right? So I love doing ebony skin. I love it. I love ebony skin. I love doing Indian brides. I love like all of that. I want people to know and feel comfortable when they look at my portfolio that anybody can sit in my chair. And I think a lot of people get stuck on that Instagram trending makeup artistry, which is great and it shows a lot of skill, but it's not going to make your clients feel confident when all they see is green glitter cut creases all over your Instagram. They want to see makeup that, you know, really they can see themselves in.
Yeah.
So I think having that diversity and having that, you know, drive to want to learn more about it and to perfect your skills in that way, it did take me some time. It took me asking some friends to come and sit in my chair so I could practice with them. You know, it's just, you have to put yourself out there. in every aspect. Beauty industry is a sales job at the end of the day. You have to seek out people for your business until you've grown enough to where it just comes to you. And even then, you still should sell your skills.
I love that. Honestly, my mom has always said that to me. She's like, always act like you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself, you're selling your brand, your business. You want them to remember you. So you have to show them your uniqueness. My favorite quote from RuPaul, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. You have to show it. And I love that. Have you found that working with other artists and like beauty professionals, like doing your collaborations, has that helped you like creatively wise? Has it made you open your horizons to different lanes that you didn't even think of before that makes you more openly creative?
Yeah, for sure. I think that every time I see my, colleagues doing great things, I think it pushes me to want to do great things even more. And I think that that's the healthiest way to look at it in a sense, because I think when you take the competitiveness out of it and you look at it from like, that's awesome, she did a great job and I want to try doing it. It's okay to be inspired by your community, and it's okay to, success and be happy for them and also want that for yourself at the same time. But I think being inspired by others, you have to be able to kind of like look within, right? You have to figure out, if you're looking at other people doing great things and thinking something negative about it, like woe is me kind of thing, I think you have to really look at yourself, right? Because I get different opportunities than other artists, and they get different opportunities than I get. But that doesn't mean that I'm any less or any more. And that's why when people come to me and they say things like fangirling and stuff, I'm like, oh, stop, cut it out. Because I don't put myself in that category. It's not like, I'm on billboards or anything like that. And I've been told a lot that I should start like a channel or some sort of video or be on camera more often. I'm just such that person that wants to be behind the scenes and make others feel good, that it's not necessarily my priority to be in front of the camera. I realize I should, because people like to see your face, and but I've always been that pink hair girl. People know who I am. I've taught a lot of people, and I've networked enough for my name to be out there. But I don't put myself above other people. I don't think that it's right to do that. I still have lots of room to grow. I still mess up all the time, every time. It's not, I could do makeup with my eyes closed, but, sometimes different challenges hit you at different times. Sometimes the eyeliner doesn't want to do what you want it to do, and you have to figure out how to work with that. And I think that, growing as a person, looking around you and seeing that, like, oh, this artist uses this product, maybe I should try that too. Or, I've had other artists reach out to me and ask me what products I use because they don't get, or what I'm doing for my lighting setup because they don't get how my pictures look the way they do. And I think that whole mentality of kind of like keeping your skills and stuff close to your chest doesn't really help you out a lot, because I will freely...
Gatekeeping annoys me. I'm like, stop gatekeeping. You're annoying. Just be helpful for everyone. Like, I've had that where I've asked people, like, spray tanning, I ask people for their drying for me, like their drying powder, because I don't like talc powder. I don't want to use baby powder. Like, it's always homemade. I just want to know what they're putting in it. Girls are like, secret.
Yeah.
Secret. I'm like, okay, cool.
I think it's okay to keep some things close to your chest. I think that some people, I'm an oversharer.
I'm also an oversharer.
Yeah, so I will always tell anybody anything that they really want to know, which sometimes has bitten me in the butt. But I think at the end of the day, my love for sharing what I do comes from wanting that community. I want people to experience what I'm experiencing. I want them to love it the way that I love it. I want them to, have the same type of success. Because I think a lot of the time the beauty industry has been put in this light of feeling like, you can't live off that. must be fun job. It's always a fun job. It is fun, don't get me wrong, but it's
our
work.
career.
It's a career. It's not, I don't just go to work and do makeup all day. It's a lot of behind the scenes work. It's emails and contracts and invoicing and bills and overhead and all the things that make a business run. And it's not just making people pretty. I think when you have people in your community who truly inspire you to want to do more, and people who keep you in the circle, people who also will give you shout outs when you do well, and you giving shout outs to those who also do well. I think that is not only like a good business thing to do, a good strategy to have your sense of community and have a community that will also comment and share and support you and reach out and tell you you did great. And everybody should be doing that. Everybody should be shouting each other out and supporting each other and helping each other grow in general. It's the amount of times I've been approached for even just advice from other companies that I think other people have had in the past a little bit of tension with. I've had a lot of companies reach out because they really want to learn, but a lot of people do gatekeep. So that's a big challenge, because I think that they underteach you oftentimes in cosmetology schools, and then they leave, and you could take classes, which is great, but I think that there's a point where no amount of me telling you exactly the exact steps that I took in the application is going to have the same result. There's no way. Everybody's faces are different. Everybody's skin types are different. Your bone structure is different. It's going to look different. And I think that when you're taking inspiration from others, there's still the work that has to be done on your end. No amount of getting out there and having, say, an inspiration board is going to have your portfolio automatically looking like that. It takes time.
Yeah,
it definitely takes time and energy and community.
So one of my last questions for you is, what advice would you give someone who's a little hesitant about being more collaborative with other businesses, who's more tentative about it? Maybe they've been bitten in the past. Maybe they're just nervous to stick their neck out there and try to do that collaborative effort. What advice do you have?
I think that when you're first starting out and you're wanting to get into the industry, I think networking is the number one thing you should do. Bumping into people, going to events, passing out your business cards, putting yourself out there, that's the first hurdle. You can't assume that a photographer or a company is going to want to work with you without having you introduce yourself, without them getting a feel for who you are. And obviously your portfolio matters, so practicing as much as possible. Even if cameras on your iPhones take really bomb photos, especially if you can get your lighting right, you can take really great photos and have really great content without having a professional photographer. But a lot more photographers will be more inclined to want to work with you should your portfolio
show more photographer work. Yeah,
not even necessarily photographer work, but clean enough work for them to see where you're
professional looking work. Yeah,
exactly. And obviously, as you work with photographers, different photographers like different styles of makeup. Some like the skin to be left dewy, some like you to have it all matte, some of them will like you to have barely any product on. It really depends on the style of the shoot and everything. So I really had to learn the differences. Okay, this photographer really likes you to leave the skin glossy, so I'm going to leave minimal powders, if any powders. And then I have another photographer who really likes pretty full on, pretty heavy glam, so I use a buff powder. So I learned, over working with a lot of these photographers over and over again, their style to be able to help them edit better. You know what I mean? So I think that when I first got started in, it was mostly about networking. It was mostly about getting, the connections, putting my name out there and saying, hey, if you ever need a makeup artist, I'm ready and available. Just let me know. And then when they reach out, learning their style, and working with them. And I think that it's really great when you can find a photographer that allows you to also flourish. So sometimes when you work with photographers, they'll be like, I need to shoot this for my portfolio, but the next one, like the look that you do after, you could do whatever you want. So if you're able to do whatever you want, that's when we get a little crazy with like glitter, neon colors, and like
the fun
messy
stuff
that we all love to do. But then you develop that portfolio. It's not easy. It's not like it's going to happen overnight. It took me a good 4 years to get a solid portfolio. But I also was a single mom in college, teaching part-time, going to school part-time, all this stuff played a part in why my journey took the way it did or took as long as it did. And it can happen faster if you're on your game. I think being on social media and networking is key. And all it takes is for you to just get over that feeling like you're being judged or watched or anything like that. You just have to put yourself out there. Tell that girl at the grocery store that her hair is gorgeous and that you want her to sit in your chair, even if she never comes. Being okay with approaching people and saying,
my favorite thing is complimenting other girls. I feel like something that needs to be not as weird is if a girl has good eyelashes on, go up to her and say you like her eyelashes. It's not weird. No.
You can make someone's day.
My favorite thing is someone tells me they like my nails. Someone says they like my hair. Something to do
keep looking at them.
Someone says they like my nails. I'm like, my girl. And I don't even do my own nails. I'm plugging a whole other person to do my nails. Polished by Caitlin, love her. But I always will I'm plugging a whole other person, but it makes me feel good that they like what I'm doing, how I put myself together. People compliment my clothes. That's my favorite compliment. My makeup and my clothes. If they tell me my lips look good, it's done for. That's the best.
It's different types of people too. I can't tell you how many grandmas have told me they love my hair.
It's always random people that you're like, you do?
You do love
It's always the people you want to go,
judging me?
Really? You think they're judging you too. It's always the people you're like, oh my God, it's a Karen who's judging me. And then they come up to you and you're like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, gorgeous, and perfect. I'm like, I'm internalizing.
Wrote that on there. They wrote it on the cup. They're like, I love your hair.
Starbucks. I just said the other day, my favorite thing is a Starbucks worker handing me my drink and complimenting me on something. A high that I could never compare. For real. I'm literally now you just booped your tip up so much. I love you. Thank you for giving me this hype for the day.
It's important to tell people in general, not even just generally women.
But
if you think someone is beautiful, tell them they're beautiful. If you think that they have really great style, tell them that they don't do it for everybody to give them compliments, obviously.
No, they do it for themselves, but it's a little oomph. It's just validation that you don't have to ask for it, but it's always nice to receive it. No one's gonna be like, oh no, don't
stop.
Oh stop,
don't tell me I'm beautiful.
No, it's just nice to get the validation that you're oh, I wasn't looking for that, but thank you.
Exactly.
Give a little pep in the step.
Same thing career-wise too. If they did really great and you loved the application, you're looking at it, you're like, this is a bomb photo. Say it. Just say it.
I'm a commenter. I'm an Instagram commenter.
So much more important. Commenting on social media, that's great and all.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you see that person, you're like, that
Tell
shoot
them.
you did was epic, and I loved it. You did such a great job.
That's one of my favorite. It's validating. It's validating in a way that you just are I am doing a good job, and you can say that to yourself all you want.
Yeah.
But when someone else confirms that you're doing it, you're just I am, aren't I?
I have a hard time with it. People give me compliments and stuff. My gut reaction is to be no.
You're one of the people that are no, don't. Actually don't. But I just started getting used to it because I think when I first started, I did the mud makeup class. And when I was in that class, I was my biggest critic because my teacher she's so sweet and I love her.
Yeah.
Was not someone to tell you that you're doing something not great. She'd just be like, it could be better, but you're still doing really good. I am not like that. I'm very I need you to tell me this is bad, but tell me how to fix it.
Yeah.
So when I was my biggest critic for so long that when I left makeup school, my mom was like, you can't be doing that to yourself in front of people, clients. Clients don't feel comfortable with you doing that. They don't have confidence in you if you don't have confidence in yourself.
Right.
So that being told that made me really like set in my brain, like, oh, I need to be valid in what I'm doing. Like, I need to know I did that. So I'm the first one to say, I ate this up, huh? Like, to my clients, and they love it. They think it's so funny. A bride will feel so good if you look at them and be like, oh, I just Mona Lisa this hard. This looks so good. Like, hype yourself up. You're hyping them up. They don't even like take it like you're complimenting them. Like, it's a way less awkward way. If they're awkward with compliments, it's a way less awkward way of giving them that compliment. But it sounds like you're complimenting yourself. So they're like validated that they feel good and look good, but without you being like, oh my God, you're giving, you're serving, you look good.
Yeah. I think that especially with your clients, telling your clients they're beautiful is
that's
huge.
why they're there.
Yeah.
You make them feel good.
And if you are talking to somebody and, you know, at the end of the day, they're just like, okay, I'm done.
That's not fun.
That's not the vibe they're going for. They're going for you being able to say, this looks so good on you.
This was your color.
Yeah,
this is what you did. This lip color. My favorite thing is to sell a lip gloss. I am a girl who loves to sell a lip gloss. I will look at a girl, look at one of our colors and be like, the light up you get when a girl puts on a lip gloss, that she's feeling herself.
Yeah.
Like, she looks in the mirror and you're like, I did that. Because she's just so happy. And you just look at her and say, girl, your lips are, that's it. That's your color.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted. That's the feeling they want. That's why they came to see us, is to be like, this girl validates.
Do it.
No, that's why they're coming to see me. Unless their man's coming with their card to pay, I don't appreciate it. Like, they're like, what were you at the salon for 3 hours? Getting complimented like I should. Getting what I deserve. My treatment, my self-care, which that's like, everything you've told me today is so helpful. Like, I'm happy I got to do these interviews today, because I was just saying, I started this with the intention of spreading like knowledge like yours, knowledge like Carrie, knowledge like all the, not just business owners, people in our industry or in the wellness beauty industry and all, like, overall, how collaboration is important, how connecting together as a like community is huge and important, and how negativity not needed. Competitiveness, I know it seems like it needs to be there. It's just in your brain. Like, it's just for you.
Competitiveness in the sense that, like,
there's healthy competitive
it's like
and not.
In a track meet, right? Like, we're all running in the same race. Somebody's bound to win, right? But at the end of the day, like,
did you run
you're
good?
Doing the same workout, the same stretches, and you're doing the same stuff, and we're all going for the same goal, we're all cheering each other on. You know, like, you shouldn't put people down even though people are doing the same thing you're doing. It doesn't make sense. Because at the end of the day, people who believe that, those people really have some inner struggles. And there's not to say that, you know, we don't all feel it. We all feel it at some point in any aspect of your life, that little tinge of like, why isn't that me? But at the end of the day, like I said, the opportunities that have come to me are way different than they've come to another artist in the local community. And they're always going to be different, because people value different vibes or different types of artistry or whatever. And it's okay to only be a natural makeup artist or only be a glam artist.
Everyone's different. That's my favorite thing about our industries. We all can be different. Like, no one's the same. I know trending is a huge thing of like copy and paste, but we're all different. It's trending because it's a way for us to show how we're all different. Like, doing the same thing, but showing our different art, which I love.
And I think that one of the most beautiful things about our industry too is that it encourages us to be authentic. There's not another me. There's not another you. You know, I could show you every day how to do it exactly the way that I do it, but it's still not going to be the same, because it's also the energy that you bring. It's also the knowledge that you bring. And I think a lot of people really love that mentality of teaching people how to fish rather than just giving them fish. You know, you really sharing your knowledge and being inspired by your community and putting yourself out there so that people know your name. That's most of the battle. Like, if you just let it all out there and put it all out there for anyone who wants to listen, is how people learn who you are. I mean, I have people from my past that I don't talk to regularly, but they keep coming up in my feed, and I love to watch people grow, and I love to watch people have success and have their own version of what success is for them too, right? Because like I'm not somebody, I don't want to be on television. I would like to be out behind the scenes for television. I love editorial, and I love doing fashion and all that other kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I also and my mom is my hero, right? But at the same time, I'm also my own hero, because I think that all of the things in life, when you learn on your own, it's so much more valuable.
Yeah.
And so I think growing up in this industry, looking around at everybody fighting, looking around at everybody being so negative, I've always kind of been a little bit of a pushover in a sense. Like I'm always wanting the happy results to fix the problem.
That's my thing. I just don't want to fight. I don't see the point in fighting about it. Like I'd rather just like belly over and deal with it than like fight about it. But like, why is there even fighting? That's how I feel about it now. I'm just like, there's.
I've only raised
it's silly.
one time in my entire career of owning a business, one time, and it was like as soon as it happened, I was like, felt like this rush over me, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I lost my cool for a second, but it wasn't that bad. But it definitely was an eye opener for me, because I know that so many people are so short tempered when it comes to workplace drama and stuff. And I think I've always had this mentality of, okay, now what? Like, are you guys going to talk it out? Are you guys going to, figure out what is bothering you and move forward? How can we move forward? Let's be professional. Let's be adults. Let's sit down and have a conversation about it and stuff. And I've always been really open to critique myself. And I don't have a problem giving feedback and giving critique, but I think that learning how to receive it is huge for a lot of people. But I think that taking that personally, I think that's a big thing to get over as a makeup artist, right? Is when somebody is like, I don't like what you did, to be able to know that they're not telling you you're awful, you should quit your job, that the world is ending. It just might not be for them. And what is beautiful to me and what's beautiful to you might be very different. Just the same as my version of teal might be different from your version of teal, or mauve, right? We might have very different mindsets, but also like what looks good on different people is also perspective, right? So how I feel like my client looks great, if they say, hey, do whatever makeup style you think looks best, I'm still going to ask them questions. I'm still going to ask them to give me feedback, because at the end of the day, if they look at that application and look in the mirror and don't feel themselves, or don't feel like it looks the way that they imagined, being able to take that feedback, being able to have them tell you, okay, I feel like the blush is a little too intense. Yeah, not taking it personally and thinking, oh, I did her whole makeup application wrong. Okay, how do I tone down her blush a little bit? How do I, maybe it's the color that's bothering her. And, asking her questions. But when they give you feedback, or even as an instructor, giving feedback to a student, not taking it personally. Obviously, there's professional ways of giving feedback. So I would never, in any of my classes, have I ever walked up to somebody and been like, gosh, like start over. That's never going to be a thing that any mentor should say. Approaching it as a, like, I can see where you're going. I could see that you did your best with what you knew. Let me show you some tricks. So you can get that knowledge, but without tearing somebody down. And I think it's really important for people to receive that knowledge and understand that when somebody's trying to give you feedback, it's meant to help mold you, and less of to make you feel like you did it wrong. Because to be honest, makeup, there's
it's hard to do it wrong.
Yeah, there's guidelines, but there's not rules. Sanitation, there are rules.
I was like, there's be clean. Yes. Please be clean.
Yes. Sanitation, obviously, there's rules. And business-wise, there's rules.
Listen to the laws.
Yes. But at the same time, if you want to use a brow pencil as a lip liner.
Who's telling you no? Like, I love... Mocha lip liner?
Mhm.
No, it's a brown eyeliner pencil, girl.
Right,
Like, trust.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
blend her out. She does exactly what you need her
The
to
lipstick
do.
has a cream cheek. You know, I couldn't get to school and she offered to drive me, and it literally got me through cosmetology school. I had to stay with her all day and all night because she was also working at
And
night.
she works there all the time. Yeah, she was there all day, every day.
But I
Yeah.
got to get close with her, and I got to like love her in a different way than I think a lot of people did. And I love tough love. I think that that's one
She
of the
does.
major
She's
things
like,
that makes people better in the long run.
I know with age, she is getting so much softer, but like, I know I'm like scared to say it, but she's so
She's
nice
25.
and like, yeah, 35.
Yeah, 35.
Realistically,
35.
I'm like, I'm 25. We can't hit it like that,
Okay.
but she's like 35.
Yeah.
But she has gotten softer for sure, but she's always just been very real, and it makes me very grateful because I'm such a realist now. I'm very like self-aware,
Yeah.
and I will credit that to my mom till the day I die.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel, especially in our industry,
Yeah.
so helpful to
credit
be
it to your mom,
self-aware.
too.
So helpful to be self-aware. Like, I'm like, Mom, I totally get why you taught me this life skill, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, but it's people like her that really like I think inspire people like myself to
Mhm.
want to do the most. Like I think that a lot of cosmetology schools, they were like trying to get you in and out and just trying to push you through the program, and I felt like she actually cared. And you know, there was a couple other instructors that I had that were really great and everything too. Mr. Rick, shout out Mr. Rick, who showed me that being a wealth of knowledge and absorbing as much as you can and being present as much as you possibly can and taking opportunities as much as you can is really something that I think changed me as a person when I was in cosmetology school. So I think it's really great and like kind of full circle to be interviewed by the daughter of the person that got me through cosmetology school.
I know. I'm so excited. My mom was like, this is going to be a good opportunity for everyone. And I'm really grateful that I had you on today. My mom thinks it's funny when I tell her you're like my idol all the time. She's like, I helped her and now she's your idol. I'm like, duh, come on.
Essentially, she is also your idol.
Yeah, she knows that though. I can't hype her up too much. I already tell her all the time. I'm like, Mom, you're just so perfect. But I wanted to say thank you for coming on and thank you for joining the Pink Collar Network.